StoriesRoc, and an evening of stories about hot fun in the summertime. And aren't you glad we had a nice hot day so we could all be in the mood for stories about heat with no rain? Well, your next teller is yours truly. I grew up in the heart of the Bible Belt in a world saturated with stories. My father, who was a minister, and his 5 Irish brothers spent every family gathering laughing about the time when, and the time when, and the time when. And it was these stories that told me who we were as a family, as a religious community, as a citizen, how we behave, and how we misbehave. This was the foundation of my love for stories and language, writing, storytelling, and I'm immensely grateful. A little known fact about me. About 12 years ago, I was welcomed into a women's sextet called UPS, Unrepentant Practicing Singers. And the wonderful thing about that is we no longer sing together, but we still enjoy wonderful music, good food, and tonight's stories. They continue to be an important part of my ongoing life. So thank you, Nancy and Nancy. And tonight I will read Johnny Krablin. The summer I was almost 12, going on 16, my body had changed. New contours, strange hormones, longer hair. But the good news was that I was finally old enough to go to the Nazarene Church summer camp with the junior high kids. The bad news was that my father, a Nazarene preacher, was the camp director. And he drove me and my sister to camp and back. It was at Goddard, Kansas, about a 3-hour trip from Meade, where we lived at the time. Monday morning, we pulled into the campground, and it was magnificent. There were cabins and trees and a lake, and in the center there was an enormous outdoor chapel. There were strings of yellow lights spun out from the center of the tent like a spider's web that ran all the way up to the hill, to the row of cabins and the trees. Oh, I hauled my sleeping bag and suitcase up to the girls' cabins, and I located a top bunk and built my nest for the week. I came back down to the center of the camp, and I saw my sister there talking to a circle of friends, and there was one boy with long blonde hair that fell into his eyes. He was wearing tight Levi's and a white t-shirt all rolled up at the sleeves, like James Dean. He looked dangerous, and I liked him right away. He nodded in my direction and asked my sister, "Who's your friend?" "She isn't my friend. She's my sister, Leah." Well, he took his right hand and flung a swatch of golden hair. His eyes were blue and his mouth was puckery. "Hi, I'm Johnny. Do you want to sit with me in chapel tonight?" I didn't know what to say to that. I mean, going to chapel was something that you just did. You didn't do it with someone. But what did I know? He was an older man, an 8th grader. "Okay," I said. "Oh, good." He said, "I'll meet you there." Oh, the rest of the afternoon, I did all the things that campers are supposed to do. I played softball and volleyball, and I made a useless coin purse. But all I was thinking about was I was going to sit with Johnny Krablin in chapel. After dinner, I showered. I put on an orange paisley skirt with a matching top. I brushed my teeth 16 times. And when I walked down to the chapel tent, there he was, in the same tight jeans, wearing a blue Oxford shirt. And as I came closer, I sensed that he was enveloped in a cloud of English leather cologne. He guided me to a seat in the back row where all the cool kids sat. I looked around for my father. I didn't see him anywhere. I don't remember anything that the preacher said that night. I was only aware of the heat coming from Johnny's shoulder and his thigh. He took my hand and laced the fingers of my right hand into his left hand, and we created kind of an English leather amplifier. I think you can smell it, can't you? After church, as we left the chapel, he twisted my left arm so that it was behind my back, and his right arm was around me, and I was sort of locked in. I didn't see my father anywhere. The girls' cabins were to the right of the chapel, and there was a sidewalk that was well lit with those yellow bulbs hanging from the poles. The boys' cabins were up the hill over to the left, and there was a nice protective row of trees between them. But when we came to my cabin, Johnny kept walking on up the hill into the dark. I was still locked in. He stopped, turned, and slipped his left hand between my shoulder blades. And that's when I knew he was going to kiss me. His eyes were closed and his face was coming closer to mine. So I closed my eyes and held my breath. Then I felt his mouth touching mine. This wasn't like what Cary Grant did in the movies, that sudden slamming and grinding of mouths. No, his mouth was soft and inviting. "Get to your cabins, lights out!" My father's voice cut through the night. It was like a whip. Where had he come from? His flashlight found us, and we were center stage. I pulled away. But Johnny didn't let go of my hand. We turned and walked back down the path. I glanced up and met my father's eyes as we passed. I couldn't quite read the expression on his face. When we stood in front of my cabin, I wondered if Johnny would have the audacity to try to kiss me again. He didn't. "Will you sit with me in chapel tomorrow?" he asked. I nodded. Then he took the gold ID bracelet from his left hand, the one that said, "Johnny," and placed it on my wrist. I entered my cabin in a daze. I climbed up onto the top bunk while all the other girls wandered in talking and laughing. I turned to the wall with my left hand under my cheek, breathing in English leather. I had sat with Johnny in chapel. He had held my hand and kissed me, and now I was wearing his ID bracelet. I felt like the queen of the camp. I was Johnny's girl. And for the rest of the week, we were inseparable. We didn't always do the things that our squads were doing. Whenever we could, Johnny, his brother, Bubba, I'm not kidding, Linda and I went for walks. We played ping pong. We took paddle boats out onto the lake. And Thursday morning, we were in a deserted cabin playing ping pong when a counselor charged in. "Why aren't you in the chapel? Didn't you hear the bell?" "A bell? It isn't time for chapel." "Reverend McKellips called a special meeting. You better get down there now." Uh-oh. We stumbled down the hill to find the chapel filled with everyone but us. My father's voice thundered over the crowd. "This is going to stop now." Oh, his face was red. "Whoever threw those chairs in the lake will stand up now and confess, or we will just sit here." No one moved. As we reached the back of the tent, my father saw us. "And some of you are going off making your own camp. This is not why we come to camp." He stepped down from the pulpit, stormed down the aisle, and grabbed me by the arm and marched me up to the front row, motioning for my friends to follow. "Where have you been?" he asked. I felt the eyes of the entire camp on me. His grip tightened as he shook me back and forth. "Where were you?" "We were playing ping pong." I jerked my arm free and looked around. My friends hadn't joined me. I sank into the chair and closed my eyes. I felt hot. We were playing ping pong, I said again. We weren't doing anything wrong. My father stepped back, hesitated. Then he slowly made his way back up to the platform and stood behind the pulpit, scratched his head, coughed. "Well, maybe I made a mistake," he said. He stood gripping the pulpit and bowed his head. "You're all excused." One person stood, then another, and then everybody all at once. And I waited until it seemed like everyone else had gone before I rose to leave. Johnny came from nowhere, met me and took my hand. My father also appeared in the aisle blocking our exit. "You are to stay with your squad from now on," he said to me. "We weren't doing anything wrong." "Stay with your squad," he said, squaring off with Johnny. Then he turned and left. Johnny held my left hand in his right and twisted it around my back. "Hey, what's this?" he asked, wiping a tear from my cheek. He lifted my chin and chuckled. I smiled and ducked. "You hungry?" he asked. "No." "Well, then let's go for a walk." "I'm supposed to stay with my squad," I said. Johnny let go of my hand, took both of his on my shoulder and said, "What do you want to do?" I looked up in his dreamy eyes and puckering mouth. "I want to walk." After lunch on Saturday afternoon, Johnny and I said goodbye. He unclasped his ID bracelet and slid it off my arm. Over, just like that. The ride back to Meade in my father's car was quiet. I closed my eyes, relishing that lingering scent of English leather. Johnny promised to write, and he did a couple of times. He sent me a school picture. We didn't get married or anything. But I knew, and my father knew, that I had crossed a threshold. All the good fairy tales teach us that hearts will be broken when a daddy's girl meets a dangerous boy like Johnny.